Welcome, bent riders around the world. My name is Gary Solomon, and you're watching the Laidback Bike Report. It's awful nice to have you all with us today, guys. We have a wonderful show lined up for you today. Let me tell you what we have in store. First, all the way from Romania, we have Jan Wijnen with us from Velomobile World. So we look forward to talking to Jan about everything to do with his manufacturing of Velomobiles. We're going to have a recumbent racing discussion with Greg Eberdt from the Arkansas Senior Games and Andy Hollinger, who runs the Texas State Championships at Fort Hood, who are now accepting recumbents. And so we're going to have a nice discussion with them and, of course, invite Doug Davis in on that discussion as well as we continue to talk about amateur racing recumbent style. So we look forward to doing that. And our good friends from Hase are with us today, David Black and Anja Wrede, and they will be talking to us about their wonderful Delta trikes. And we're going to have an Ask Me Anything session, so you can already start thinking about it. If you have questions about any Delta trikes or Hase trikes or bikes in particular, get those into the chat, and we will bring those up to them and get you some answers. All right, so my wonderful Laidback Bike Report crew is usually behind the scenes. Let's bring them up so everyone can see. We have, first of all, from Salzgitter, Germany, it's my buddy Lars Kamm. Hello, Lars.
Hi, folks.
Good to have you with us again, Lars, all the way out in Colorado Springs, handling the banners. We have Larry Seidman. Hi, Larry.
Happy Father's Day.
And happy Father's Day to you and all the fathers out there. Thank you. And down in Big D, Dallas, Texas, it's Mr. Wizard. Doug Davis is with us today. Hey, Doug.
Hey, Gary. Good to be here. This should be fun.
Yeah, Doug is at the shop as usual. And down in Jackson, Mississippi, it is our media dude himself. It's Trey Burgoyne. Hey, Trey.
Howdy, y'all. How y'all are?
Yeah, so those are the guys that make this whole show run beautifully, and couldn't do it without them. So, all right. I mentioned the live chat as far as asking your questions for our Ask Me Anything session. It's so important. We have live chat going on both of our destinations for this live webcast. That means Facebook. If you comment in the Facebook event, we will get to see that and respond to it. And if you are on YouTube, if you look off to the right on the web page or down below, I guess, on mobile, you will see the live chat there. So please put your questions, make your comments there. You can chat amongst yourselves or with our panelists who will be on there to talk to you too. So we look forward to seeing what you have to say in chat, and tell us where you're watching from. We always like to know about that as well. Guys, you can help the Laidback Bike Report out by liking us on our Facebook page, subscribing to our YouTube channel, and if you just click that little white eye up there, it will take you to our webpage, and you can find out all kinds of other information about the Laidback Bike Report, our past shows, what we have coming up, bonus material, our podcasts. We do make many of our webcasts into podcasts now, so you can listen to the show maybe while you're riding, if that makes sense to you. So all that stuff's on the webpage, laidbackbikereport.com. So you can get there by clicking that little white eye. And probably the best way to support us, besides watching us, is to become a Patreon patron. You can do that for as little as $1 a month. You can just go to Patreon and search for Laidback Bike Report, or I'll have the links in the description below. I would at this point like to thank our amazing sponsors. TerraCycle, makers of exquisite recumbent parts and accessories for your bent, and trailside.bike, a fine recumbent bike shop on the Withlacoochee Trail in Florida, and Cruise Bike, designed for the cyclist who wants to ride farther, climb faster, and adventure more. All cruise bikes and frame sets ship free in the USA. And TerraTrike. Every participant in TerraTrike's virtual Rider Fest will receive an entry into a raffle for a new TerraTrike of their choice, including the much anticipated TerraTrike Spider and GTS. The drawing will take place live right here on the Laidback Bike Report next Sunday, June 28th. So you do not want to miss that. So ride what you like, but get out and ride. Look for the details on the TerraTrike website at terratrike.com/riderfest or on the TerraTrike Facebook page. And the Hostel Shop, America's premier recumbent dealer with the largest variety of recumbents parts and accessories in stock and ready to ship to your door. All right, guys, so let's get on with the show and talk to our first guest. He, as I mentioned earlier, is in Romania, but actually he is Dutch, and his name is Jan Wijnen. Jan, are you there?
Yes.
How nice to have you with us today. We really appreciate you coming on.
Mm-hmm.
So, Jan, and also let's bring Doug Davis in here too, because he may want to comment or add to some of the conversation as well, Jan, as we begin to ask questions. Jan, I guess I want to start out by asking you what were your first exposures? What was the first Velomobile that you saw, and how did it impress you?
Oh, that's a long time ago already. I've been raised in Dronten. That's Velomobile Mecca of the world. So it's. I think it was in 1994. I was exposed already with some Velomobiles. I saw Theo Allert, and Jimte driving, and I got really interested in it. So that was my first exposure.
Okay. So now those guys went on to start some Velomobile manufacturing of their own, Velomobile.nl, right? And Allert is with Intercity. Did he end up with? I'm not sure. I know the exact story, but is that right?
No, Velomobile.nl.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know exact year anymore that Velomobile.nl was founded by Allert and Jimte. And later on, Theo joined it. And in 2014, it split it. And then Jimte started Intercity Bike with the DFXL, and Theo and Allert remained in the Velomobile.nl company.
Okay. So I know you have this story about when you were a youngster and you saw these guys, and going back to that time, they were working at Flavo Bike, right? So tell us about that time, and there's a story also about how you fell in love with what they had, and your dad got involved. Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, the first question you asked me when I got exposed. I directly followed them with my normal bicycle to Flavo Bike, and I hammered down many questions to them. And after school, I went also to Flavo Bike to see and have a chit chat. And they sent me away because I can imagine that if a boy of 13 years old standing for your workshop and want to test drive a Velomobile, I can imagine I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't allowed a 13-year-old boy cycling, test driving my Velomobiles. So after a couple of weeks, my father got also interested in it, and they let him, of course, make a test drive. And my father bought a second-hand elevator, and that one I could drive occasionally. And yeah, so that was my start of Velomobiles. But I still came quite often by Flevobike to ask many questions. Internet was not available back then, so you had to go there and ask questions to get answers. And then after I came like this 10 times, 20 times, they asked me if I could do some useful instead of having only questions. So they let me clean up their workshop. That's how I started to work for Flevobike.
So you were as persistent as a young man could be, and you built wheels for them as well. Is that right? You started doing that?
Yeah, well, I was hired to clean up the workshop, but after a couple of days, they trained me how to make wheels, and mainly at Flevobike I built wheels.
Okay.
For like 3 years, but as a side job, of course. I was 14 when I started there working a side job, and I got paid in an elevator building package. So no money but parts.
Okay, right. But yeah, you were hooked by then, and it led on to a lot more later on in your life. So let's step forward a bit then and talk about your college background a little bit. That prepared you for what eventually came a little bit later. Tell us about your college experience. What did you study?
Well, I did mechanical engineering, but I think I learned more at Velomobile.nl about aerodynamics, about composites. Allard, his profession is official teacher, and we had always quite extensive talks in the breaks, and then he taught me quite a lot. So I think I learned more in the breaks of by Velomobile.nl than on my mechanical engineering.
Yeah, sometimes it works out that way. So your education progressed. Now there's two kind of disjointed sections of your story that we need to kind of bring together. So you're Dutch, so you grew up in the Netherlands. You went to school there. You had all your experiences there. But now you're building Velomobiles in Romania. So we need to go back a little bit and find out what prompted this. What was the beginning of your connection to Romania? How did this all come about?
Well, yeah, I was in the when I did the practical phase of mechanical engineering. I was at a big mechanical site, and in the evening I was looking to a movie about the gladiators. And Caesar dies, and he says, "For what I lived." And Caesar wasn't happy about where he lived for. So that made me thinking what I want to see in the end of my life. So I've been working after this 3 years as volunteer in Romania, here in this area. And after it, I've been with my wife in Brazil. And there they teach people to start up businesses. And then the idea started like, I better start a business and have fun in the product I build, and I get also money for myself, because in voluntary jobs it's terrible payments. It could be that you have 1 month 300 euros, the next month you have nothing, and it's quite a challenge if you have a family. So I didn't want to go down that road.
Okay, so let's take it to the next step. So you decided you were going to start this company, and you had this experience and this love of Velomobile. So now I understand that Velomobile.nl played an important part on getting you started here. Tell us about how that started. How did you actually get the business going, and when?
Well, so in 2008, I came back from Brazil, and I needed to have a job. Then the guys from Velomobile.nl asked me if I could join the company to work with them as an employee. And I think 8 months later, they asked me if I would be partner in the business, and I happily accept that offer directly. And we discussed directly the opportunity to start up a business in Romania, production facility. And yeah, they were very open and very supportive to this idea. So yeah, they played an enormous role, because they financed everything.
So that's how you got started. Okay. So so you decided, then you had been to Romania, and you decided, I guess I'd like to know a little bit more about the reasons that made you make the choice to actually start this business, this factory in Romania.
Oh yeah, it's a long time ago already. Well, as I said, in Brazil, you had the idea, you see, you make a kind of combination with as the volunteer, like doing something good and proper for the society. And I saw the businesses, but I saw also that the business they helped to start up, they were very tiny and small, and they would not generate a real business for people. And so on, I started thinking about it, and the idea came in. It came in shape to start a business in Romania, but I didn't know yet until Velomobile.nl asked me to be partner. I never make the connection with building Velomobiles in Romania and having the business. But when they asked me, I told them I want to go in the future to Romania, and they directly said, "Okay, how much money you need to start a business?"
Okay. All right. All right. Let's go ahead then and start talking about the business that, you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think you started out being Velomobile.ro, having to do with your website, and now has become Velomobile World. So let's talk about this. So you've got the business now, you're manufacturing. What were your goals? And I assume they're probably similar as they are to today. What were your goals starting out, and what are they today for this Velomobile building business? What do you want to do with this?
Well, the goal was to be the producer for Velomobile.nl, and that was the first goal. But unfortunately, because of personal issues in Holland between the three remaining partners, that didn't went well. So I bought the complete Romanian factory in 2015, and yeah, right now is the goal to extend also every year with like 20%, and build quality, have fun, have great conditions with my employees, don't get shitty emails about things are not so good.
Those are some, those are some great goals, actually. I love that. So let's clear up. I want to be clear about this. So before your factory came online, so Velomobile.nl, Intercity, these guys all were making the Velomobiles in Dronten in their shops and such. And now you pretty much are making, are you making all of the Velomobiles for these guys, as well as RAD Works as well? Tell me Tell me if you're doing all of these and
Yes,
how that transition went. How did that transition go?
For Velomobile.nl and Intercity Bike, we produce 100%. Of course, they do some what's it called?
Custom work, maybe?
Yeah, if there is a special custom wish, but we don't. For example, some special things in it, but it's complicated to communicate, to build in here. Then do it. They will do it at the shop. Right now, we signed a contract with RAD that we produce the license and we sell to the dealers. And the Alpha 7, of course, it's the same construction. We have a license agreement with Jan Wijnen, and we can deliver to the dealers.
All right, let's actually, this is a good point, I think, for us to start taking a look at these individual Velomobiles, and I'd like you to talk about them and the story of how you acquired the manufacturing for them and how they do and what they are. And we have some pictures to go with this. We're going to start out. You mentioned the Alpha 7. Is that where we are there? So we've got a few pictures. Trey, go ahead and go through these. And Jan, tell us about the Alpha 7, who the designer is, and what you do with the Alpha 7.
Yeah, well, I realized now looking to the pictures that this was the first Alpha 7 we built in Romania, and I missed still some stickers on it, and I see also the old brand name Velomobile is on it, but that's small details. Daniel Fen. I think it's a pretty well-known guy who designed the Alpha 7. Yeah, it's the production. It's the lightest Velomobile.
It also was used in the winning Transamerica race a year before last, right?
Yeah, well. That's in America a very big thing. Here on this side of the big lake, we didn't get so much information about it. I got it like a couple of months later on. I heard about Transamerica.
Right.
So
it's known for its speed, but actually, I think that helped to prove its reliability to go all the way across the continent as well. So. Okay, beautiful. And now we have the Milan, I think, is our next one. Yeah, and that's Doug's. That's a shot from Doug's parking lot, actually, of Milan. And you mentioned RAD Works. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, yeah. What do you want to know in particularly?
Well, yeah. So what is this Velomobile mostly designed for, and how does it differ from the others?
Well. The Alpha 7 is really they really push on the weight, so it's good better for if you have a bit of hilly landscape. The Milan is designed in the north of Germany. There are no hills, but there is very much wind. So they optimized mostly for also the sailing effect. So if the wind comes from, like, say, from the left or the right, because of the flat sides, it gets the sailing effect, but helping you go even faster forward, even if the wind blows very hard.
All right, new EB says Daniel Fenn, who we were just talking about, to also design the Evo R, Evo K, and the DF, and the Alpha 7, which is, as he says, a wonderful Velomobile to ride. Interesting comment there. All right. Go ahead.
Yeah, he missed the DF XL in the line.
Yeah, okay.
This comment.
All right, and that will take us on to the next one, which is, I think, the DF, huh?
Yes.
And so that is DF is Daniel Fenn, right? That's what the DF stands for. And there's a DF and a DF extra large, because let's see if I have this right. I know it's a DF is for guys who have wider shoulders, it's been a problem, and the XL is a little bit wider across there. Do I have that right?
Yeah, correctly, and it's overall a bit bigger. So if you have a big shoes or big legs, it fits better. For me, the DF is the most perfect sized Velomobile, but that's because it was designed here together with me and Daniel, and yeah, we were shaping it to my shoulders and his shoulders, and so yeah. For me, the DF is the best fitting by all Velomobile.
Okay. All right, now let's go on to one that's one of the more popular Velomobiles and one of the earlier ones, and I know there's some updates to it now too, and that's the Quest. Tell us about the Quest.
Well, it was a lot of fun. I drove Quest number 1 at 11 o'clock in the evening, no lights, no brakes, on the industrial area, because we were so excited to test the bike. Yeah, and I had like 3 or 4 of them in the main in totally.
And now there is we don't have. Let's go back to the other picture of the Quest if we could. There's also the Quest XS, yes, and this is a new
XS.
version. Yeah, tell us about what is the XS?
Well, it's you mean the XS from like 6 years ago, or you mean the newest one?
The newest version, yes, please.
The newest one who is not yet driving. That
right.
one, you mean?
Yes, the one that's not quite available. There's I guess what I'm getting at is there's a complete new design, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a complete new design. It's very tiny. I think the market will be quite small. I'm not sure if I will fit in. I am 180, so I think it will be until 1.75 meters. I have no idea how much feet or inches that's it.
Do you know when that's going to be available?
Well, I was in Holland from mid-March until last week. Because of the coronavirus, I couldn't travel back to Romania. And I've seen the body, and I've seen the rear wheel in. So to be production ready, and if they will bring it in production, that will take, I think, somewhere in the spring.
Okay, fair. Spring of next year.
Yeah, not this spring.
Right. Okay, very good. Let's move on. So there is the Strada. There's a guy who looks like he knows what he's doing behind the wheel.
Mm-hmm.
And so are you selling many Stradas these days? It's an older model, I know.
No. Stradas, no. 10 bikes a year, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually Lars's Strada that I rode in when I was in Germany a couple of years ago. So, but it was fun. Okay. And here is, speaking of a popular one, here is the Quattro Velo, and we have a few shots of this. Tell us about your experience building the Quattro Velo.
Well, we built around 2 bicycles, two Velomobiles a week of them. Yeah, it's the 4-wheeler. For me personally, I like a Velomobile to be as fast as possible, and for me it's okay if I just can fit some small things in it. So for me, this is not the most popular Velomobile for me. So it's hard to say something about it for me.
Right. I mean, it's a compromise for sure, but I think it's a compromise that just meets a lot of people's needs. Not everyone, though. Clearly, I mean that.
Apparently, because
Two
they
a
sell
week.
very well.
Right, it's 2 a week, and we're going to talk about the delays and how far out some of these are a little bit later on. But needless to say, you're a little behind on keeping up with the demand for that. So yeah, clearly it's still something that people want. So okay, so we've talked about the Velomobiles that you make, and now let's talk a little bit more about the process of you making them, which I think people will find fascinating. You've sent a few pictures for us to talk about them. So can you, first of all, in general, talk about the building process? What goes into building a Velomobile, and how do you divide them up, and all that sort of thing? And we're going to start out with we have a picture of that planning board that you have. I don't know if you want to start there. Is that okay to start there, Jan?
Yeah.
Tell us about the process.
Yeah. So you have first the planning. It's written planificare. So there's the bikes for this week to be produced, and then on the right side, one space to the right, go on.
Yeah, go on back. You didn't mean the right side. Thanks, Trey.
No. Yeah.
Good.
So you see there's some. You see the bike is on a paper with a magnet. So we move them to the next stage in the Kanban plan board. And first step is in the production is we wax the molds, we cut the carbon fiber, and we bring on the gel coat. That's the first day. And the second day it's lamination. And you see a lot of ladies there on the top line. So you see the pictures of some ladies. They are the lamination team. And then you have a couple of steps forward, and there you see 3 guys. So after the lamination, the products get in the molds in the post-curing oven. And it will goes to these 3 guys. There they take it out of the molds, grind the edges, glue in the wheel well in the body. All the other parts will need to be glued in. And could you go to the next picture? Yeah. So there we have Prep-Wop. It's called. So first, yeah. After it's all glued together, it goes to painting, and after painting we have, of course, pre-assembly, assembly, and then we put it in some on some wooden frames, ready for shipping. So that's a very fast
rundown of that's great though. All right, so now this is obviously a fine-tuned process that you have here. Did this start out being this fine-tuned? Is this how it was when you first started out, or is it taking you these numbers of years to work this out?
Yeah. Well, especially the composite was quite a pain in the ass. Before you find out how to post-cure it, first of all, you build just a simple oven, and you put a sauna heater in, and you try to heat it up in a constant way, and then things go wrong. Now we have complete PLC attached to some new ovens with airflows, sensors, in order to get an homogeneous heating process and a cooling process. This took some years to learn, because the majority of the companies are very silent about their knowledge.
Yeah, I wouldn't. They're tight-lipped about giving away their trade secrets, I'm sure. Trey, can we start going? We have a few shots of what goes on in the factory, so maybe you can describe what we're seeing as we go through these. Jan, what do we have?
So here we have we glue in. Here is the finishing area. So the parts comes out of the oven, and we glue in the wheel wells. As you can see, this in the front we have a quattro velo where we glue in the wheel wells in, and on the right side you see strada. So that's happening here, yeah.
Okay, next.
Assembly. When we had, well, we have there 3 assembly tables, and we have now 5. So
Yeah, you said 5. Is that what you said?
Yeah, we have now 5 assembly stands.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, this is the picture made from the composite area. It was we painted the floor, and this was directly after we painted it. So unfortunately, it don't look so great anymore. But yeah, this was how it looks like the 1 or 2 weeks after we painted the floors.
Okay.
Here you see the assembly area again on the right side, and yeah, where at the end you see the office spaces. On the left side you see we do pre-assembly, and we have some lathe standing there, mill, welding machines, cutting. On the right side you see it's a very tiny part of the storage of the spare parts. That's kind of everything. We're gonna say goodbye, unfortunately, to this employee. He is already 66, and I think he gonna stop working in 1 or 2 years.
This is your shop, the machine shop kind of thing? Yes?
Yeah, this is the machine shop.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next.
Yeah. Again, assembly.
More assembly. Okay.
Yeah.
A couple of nice shots of assembled.
A couple of nice shots to get emotions right. Yeah, the engineer who's making the drawings to make sure that we kind of up to date with the drawings.
Okay.
Here we, built wheels, of course, and we had some. I see. When I made the picture, I didn't see that we have what's called this ladder. We had some things going on in the electric.
Okay.
Ah, hey, it's me on the left side.
Oh, that's you carrying that piece of aluminum, huh?
Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see that you're actually working there. You have to at least make an effort to show that you're working there to encourage your employees, I'm sure, Jan. All right.
Yeah, I do work.
That's a nice shot there. That should get a little bit more closer with that quattro velo being assembled.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that's it. Looks like, huh?
Yeah, could be.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll show that at the end here. I think when we start talking about the total number of people. So we've got a couple of questions, and I know that Doug tried to answer one of them. So first of all, Lonnie Morse. Hello, Lonnie. And folks, you'll know about this when I get to the end of the show. Lonnie's going to be on next week, actually, talking about the Oregon human-powered vehicle group. He wants to know about how e-assist fits into Velomobiles. Now, I know that there are e-assist Velomobiles. Is that something that you guys work on? Do you add that, or is that aftermarket? How does that work from your point of view from the factory?
I like to build the lightest bicycles and fast bicycles, and we might gonna make a kind of e-assist for if you go uphill, because the regulation in the Netherlands or Europe is that I cannot assist above 25 kilometers per hour. And that's not so hard to reach with a Velomobile. So there's not a really good use for an electric assist. Only if you go uphill to support, it will be great.
Right. For those people that are touring.
Right now,
Yeah, for those people that are touring, of course, I think maybe that might make some more sense. But if you just want to make a go fast velomobile, then of course that's not what we're talking about here.
Well, there is some designs going on, but if you have, there's not really such a nice e-assist available. Only it was called. I forgot the name of it, but there is some growing requests for electric assist. So I can imagine in 1 or 2 years there will be the option available.
Okay, very good. All right, well, let's leave the factory then. Let's go ahead and pop up that last shot, Lars, if we could. And there's all this is all your crew right there, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and I'm on the right. I jumped the highest.
Oh, I see. You did jump the highest. You are competitive.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I'm extremely competitive. Yeah.
Okay, really good, nice shot. All right, so let's talk about the next aspect of what you do. So you build in the factory, of course, and you also have been kind of innovative when it comes to distribution and sales by building out a dealer network. So you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think in general, before you came along with this dealer network, it was pretty much the individual Velomobile manufacturers selling to individual people around the world, one at a time kind of thing. And you came up with the concept, I think, of setting up a dealer network like bikes do and such. So can you tell us about how you came up with this and what your concept is here?
Well, I need to give the credits to Jinte. He came up with the idea when Velomobile.nl existed still as with 4 of us, and I just went I just went on in this philosophy to go and build a dealer network, and for the coming months, I will be now from mid-June to mid-November. I really want to focus on building a spare part storage. So in order, if somebody orders a spare part, we don't need to we need to produce it.
So you want to make sure that the spare parts are there and ready to go, so that your dealers can handle any sort of repair kind of situation. Yes. Yeah, looks like you're.
Yeah, I'm working to get. I'm back.
Yeah, you're back.
Am I back? Yeah. Okay, good. So I'm working on some manuals the coming months and make sure that there's spare parts on stock, so we can ship it faster. And because I've seen that it's quite not running well yet.
Okay, that makes sense. All right, so now more specifically about the dealers. So tell us about where you have dealers and how does that process work? The idea then is that the customer orders from a dealer, then the dealer orders from you. Yes, is this how it works?
Yes, yeah, that's how the system works. So I don't sell. It has no sense to come to me and try to get here a bike. Although there are some people who live in this side in Austria, and I'm the closest dealer for them, and then I help them out. But yeah, that's how it works. The dealer, people goes there to make a test drive, order their. Get customer service, and I try to support with manuals and spare parts to build the spare parts storage. In this way, I try to support the dealers to do their job well, to be successful.
That's got to be a better process for everyone concerned. If you can pull that off, that's great. All right, we alluded earlier to building the Velomobiles fast enough and lead times and such. So let's get into that. We actually have a question. Let's see. From Motard, will there be a possibility to see the exact waiting progress position of the order, or is it the responsibility mainly of the dealer, in this case, Radarwerk? So, yeah, let's talk about that. What are the lead times for the various Velomobiles, and how can the customer keep track of where they are in that process, I guess is the question.
I hope next week I have on the Velomobile World.com and something similar like an order list. So you can see when a bike is ordered and when it will be delivered, which bike is ordered in which configuration. I did something similar as Velomobile.nl and Intercity Bike, only I don't expose the name of the clients. I expose only an order number. So you get, the dealer makes an order in our system, and the dealer gets an order number. And with this order number, it can be communicated with the client in order the client can see, hey, it's still in planning, and the expected delivery will be in August. Hey, my bike is in painting, or my bike is in assembly. Hey, it's on the road. Okay. So this transparency I've been building on for the last months, and I have it now on a test server to see if it works. And we had some bugs in the system, so I hope that will be finished this week or the coming week. And then it will be online to be seen.
Okay, that would be great. I think everyone would appreciate that. Let's quickly go through. So how long will it take for my Alpha 7 that I ordered today?
If you ordered one today, I didn't see, but thank you very much. It will be leaving the factory August.
Okay, and in Milan?
Oh, January.
Okay.
Leaving the factory.
How about a DF?
DF is August somewhere.
Okay, not
begin
bad.
August.
Quest?
Oh, that one can be soon. 1.5 months delivery time.
Okay, and finally, the probably the leader of the pack and the wrong end of the pack, the QV.
Yeah. Oh, I have no idea. I would say March, April.
Okay, fair enough. I understand. No one's going to hold you. Well, I'm sure people will try to hold you to it, but
Yeah. I
we
get
will not
emails.
try to hold you to it. And so, very, very good. All right. Now, we want to talk a little bit about the delivery process. So let's say I order here in the States. I ordered that. I'm going to order something I can have right away. I'm going to order Quest. And so now you build it. It's going to be just a month or so. And then how does it get delivered to me? What's the process there? What do you do?
I think you have to go to Doug Davis, first of all. You're on that big side of the other side of the lake. He's handling that part of the business.
Right. So I have to go through Doug. I call Doug and say, Doug, I want a Quest. And he then contacts you and gives you the order. You go ahead and build it.
By the Quest, by the products of Velomobile.nl and Intercity Bike, you have to go to Velomobile.nl and Intercity Bike. For the Alpha and the SL and GT, Doug Davis will contact me straight.
Okay, but he would contact the others, but he would handle that. All right. Well, I'm ordering one from you. Let's make that. I'm ordering an Alpha 7. I made a mistake. I should have gotten the Alpha 7.
Gary who?
Yeah, exactly. So tell me, what do? You got now you've built it, and now tell me how does it get to me through Doug? How does that work?
Oh, Doug Davis takes over that.
It is a pain in the ass.
right now it's a pain in the ass.
Exactly.
So we'll talk about it, guys. Yeah.
So before we had this global zombie pandemic outbreak, it was pretty straightforward. We could pick it up at the factory. We could put it on an airplane. A few weeks later, it would show up in your house, and you'd be a happy camper. Now, most of those Velomobiles shipped commercially on passenger airlines. They actually shipped in the cargo holds of a passenger airliner, which there aren't very many of anymore. In fact, there's basically none going between here and various parts of Europe. So we have been trying all sorts of things. Getting them on airplanes has been nearly impossible. Not that we can't get them booked, but the airlines cancel. The plane gets canceled, and so they sit for sometimes weeks at one end of the spectrum or the other because we just can't get them out. And now we're trying sea shipping, which is a little bit more straightforward, but a lot more time consuming. We just shipped a whole bunch of them out from various points the last couple of weeks now via sea. And those seem to be they take about 36 days once they're picked up. And picking them up has been an issue too, because as Jan knows, we've had some issues with the locals where they can't go and get the bike because their particular sector of the universe has been blocked by this virus. So it's been just one comedy of errors after another. But ultimately, this will get straightened out. Ultimately, we won't have the virus in the way, and then it will get back to a more predictable timeline. And when that happens, usually you can expect about 2.5 weeks via air and about a month and a half via sea.
Okay, very good. Let's just quickly drop back a couple of questions. That's actually not the one here. So Joseph Janning here is asking, what is the reason? So you've talked about the differing timetables for each of those particular Velomobiles. Is it because of the demand very specifically, or are there slots for each? And Romain Condit wants to know really the same thing. Yeah, why?
Because of molds and policies. So you have
molds, yeah.
You'll have a limited quantity that you can take out of a mold. It's not like you dump carbon fiber and epoxy in the mold and you take it out. This process takes 1 week, one bike in a mold, and we have for Quattro Velo we have 2 molds, so it's 2 bikes a week, and they all go through Velomobile.nl, and they have a limited capacity to handle bikes because they have more than 1,000 clients driving around as well, and they want to keep them happy as well. So, yeah, there is a big bottleneck at the Quattro Velo for our production capacity and their handling.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense. All right, let's talk about dealers specifically here. So, well, it occurs to me, I've been to Doug's shop. I know, so he has some Velomobiles in stock now. It seems obvious to me if you cannot build them fast enough, the dealers would have to get in line like everybody else to get a stock Velomobile for people to try out. And so I assume that ideally you would like to have your dealers out there with the Velomobile models that you have for people to try out. That's part of what you want to do. Yes. Is that part of the goal?
Yes. Well, I try to, if a dealer ordered a test bike for himself, that one gets sometimes a bit priority in order people can test them out. But the dealers don't have really like 4 or 5 Alphas standing there in stock. I don't know if Doug has it.
He does have a few, but I think he's unusual in that regard. So, all right, I have one. This is actually getting into our next question there. Michael Smith, how does one become a dealer for you? So tell us about your dealers. How many dealers do you have? If you want to talk about that in general, or where are they? And what is the requirement to become a dealer for Velomobile World?
Well, we have like 23 dealers. The majority is in Europe. one of the requirements of the dealers is that you have to be, of course, driving already for a while Velomobiles, because sometimes I get requests from people, yeah, I want to be dealer. And I'm like, well, you don't cycle by yourself. You never drove it, or so mostly I have the impression they come for a quick money, what you cannot make.
I gotta say, isn't the first part of becoming a dealer taking a vow of poverty?
Well, you need to like also. If you don't also show that you believe in the product by yourself, I can't believe you can be a dealer. And
you've got to show that passion that you've shown right from the start, don't you think? I mean, you have to love this and love Velomobiles so that you can sell them to people. If you are not an advocate, then people are not going to. This is not an impulse buy that someone come in for $200 and buy something. It's something that has to be sold and explained and shown how important it is. I think that's what is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's what I try to say. And it's also that somebody needs to be able to repair a bicycle.
Right. You want to have that service available so that it's, yeah, of course. Of course. Okay.
Yeah, so you need to live for the service, and it's also necessarily that you don't have them too close to each other.
Of course, right. You have to have a reasonable territory for everyone there. So, all right, let's kind of start wrapping this up with a talk about the future here. So, I guess first of all, there's all kinds of things that people want in terms of a Velomobile. I'm sure you've heard some crazy ideas. I got a question from a guy who's a very powerful advocate for a Velomobile adoption around the world, Manfred Schiller, who wants to know about a 4-seater side-by-side Velomobile. And so I want you to address that. We saw one that was actually built in Australia when we talked to Ben Goodall a few weeks ago. He kind of built it as a prototype. Is there such a 4-seater side-by-side in anyone's thoughts that you know of for Velomobile? And tell us what is in the future for building Velomobiles. What kinds of concepts have you seen and do you think might come to pass?
A 4-wheeler, I don't think so that will be produced quickly.
A 4-seater, but
4-seater, yeah. I mean 4-seater, not 4-wheeler is already.
Probably would be a 4-wheeler as well, but
yeah. No, I don't think so that a 4-seater will be built soon in my facility. I've seen at Intercity Bike some developments with a 4-wheeler that could be available in the next Spezi, 2021. Today I hear that Spezi 2020, even in August, will be cancelled. So
yes, that has been cancelled for sure. Already just told me yes.
Yeah, so I expect there will be a 4-wheeler from Intercity Bike, and there is the Quest 3.0 from Velomobile.nl, and I expect that there will be a kind of production-ready Velomobile also on the Spezi 2021. So that's what I expect to be at the Spezi 2021.
All right, we look forward to seeing that. All right, let's finish then with, I guess I want to ask you, how do we expand the overall market for Velomobiles? I know this has got to be something that you think about all the time. This is your business. So what's the best way to raise the consciousness and awareness of Velomobiles and how they can be used in their very many commuting and touring and around town, all those sorts of things? What's the best way to get the word out there?
Well, as we discussed, I want to go through dealers. and of course internet. I don't have yet a proper plan for marketing on the internet, because we sell always mostly like somebody is an early adapter in this area. He buys, let's see, where's the camera? There, yeah. For example, in a place, he buys a Velomobile, and 2 years later, you see somebody in that area, saw that guy driving, saw how enthusiastic it was, and he was like, yeah, I want also one. So most of the time, right now, it worked like this. Although I see the big potential of internet, but I didn't spend enough time yet to use this enormous tool.
Right. But you're working on it. Clearly, you've talked about that. And I agree. I think nothing raises awareness as much as actually seeing the amazing design of a Velomobile out there riding. So, and the questions that it attracts. So, all right. Any final thoughts for us at all, Jan?
No. He had quite an extensive question, so I didn't expect an hour interview.
Right. Well, I wanted to stretch you, and apparently I have. So I know you worked very hard. English is not your first language, obviously, and you did a great job, Jan. Thank you. And we've been working on this for a few weeks, so I really appreciate you taking the time out. You are a busy guy, and you have a lot of people that admire what you do, and look forward to seeing what you will produce in the future. I'm one of those, so I'll be keeping an eye on you. So stay in touch. Thank you for coming on the Laidback Bike Report. Okay.
Well, have a great interview still. I think you have some more guests.
We sure do. We're going to move on to those right now. Thank you, Jan.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, guys. So, yes, let's move along to the next segment, which has to do with racing your recumbents. We've been talking about this for a while on the Laidback Bike Report in a number of different ways. And I guess one of the important places around the U.S. where we know about a good place to ride and race recumbents is the Arkansas Senior Olympics, and they've for the last couple of years have suddenly allowed recumbents to participate in this, and it's really something that I wanted to get deeper into. Jane Knight has brought our attention to it in a number of ways, and she's a big advocate, and so is Doug. So we're going to keep Doug on hand here as we bring on a couple of gentlemen who are responsible for two major rides that accept recumbents. Arkansas Senior Olympics organizer, first of all, Greg Eberdt. And we also have Andy Hollinger from the Texas Championships at Fort Hood, I think am I saying that right, Andy?
Yeah. It's the Texas State Road Championships that we've held at Fort Hood for the last 12 years.
There we go. All right. Well, it's great to have you. Greg, hello.
Hello there.
And Andy, great to have you with us. I'm sorry I got that link to you so late. You did a great job coming on. We had a little time to get done. So you guys, we're glad that you're with us. All right. So I've got just a few questions, and I'm going to take this one by one. Let me, if I could, start with Greg. And Greg, I'd like you, first of all, just generally to tell us about the Arkansas Senior Olympics as regards cycling. Tell us about your event.
Well, our event was it's here in Little Rock, Arkansas, and we started to include recumbents last year. Previous to that, we'd had a couple of people that had asked, but we never had the category before. I started 3 years ago as the executive director of the Arkansas Games, and so I took it over, and cycling was my background, and so I wanted to learn how to run the cycling as it had been done for many years, and so I did that for the first 2 years, and then I wanted to figure out a way to expand the games and expand the events that we have. So I've even dropped the age down to the age of 40 to begin with. So anybody 40 and up can compete. And then I had somebody, beginning of last year contact me and say, hey, what about adding recumbents of all kinds? And so I did that. And it was, kind of a little bit of a learning curve for me personally. But we did add the games last year, and the cycling events that we have are four events, 2 time trial events, a 5K and a 10K, and then 2 road races, a 20K and a 40K road race.
Good.
So,
Now, let's get a couple more specifics here. Where exactly is this held, and what are the dates this year?
Sure. Well, this year we are right.
Pop the picture up if we could, Lars, too, because I've got a graphic there. Go ahead.
Yeah. I also uploaded a couple more pictures. I don't know if you found those
I
or not.
probably didn't get them. I'm sorry.
That's okay. So I had a couple pictures from last year so that we had, but I was late getting them. Sorry about that. So the events are going to be held, as you can see on the screen there, that we're planning on right now the weekend of September 18th, 19th, and 20th to be here in the Little Rock area, Little Rock, Arkansas, and right in the center of our state. And usually what we try to do, if we do the same basis what we did last year, we try to do a Friday night short time trial, and then wake up on Saturday morning and do the long 40K road race, and then follow the afternoon by the 10K time trial. And then first thing Sunday morning, we try to knock out the 20K road race and let everybody that's trying to maybe drive back home or fly back home or whatever, have all day on Sunday to get back home.
All right, Trey, let's go ahead and go through some of that. We do have some shots from last year that mostly I think came from Doug. We can kind of go through there where we will see some of the recumbents, and you're going to see some mixture of recumbents and upright bikes as well. And go ahead, let's go through these. There we go. Time trial, I guess, huh?
Yep.
And then, so there we had Doug forced us to show these. I didn't want to. And then my last question had to do with prizes. Do you have prizes? And show the last shot there. We'll see an award at least. Yeah. How's that work?
The top 3 right now get medals. Doug is donating the gold medal, believe it or not.
Yeah, it's hard to know.
Yeah. And so, you can win medals from each of the events. And it's based on your age category. So, starting, like I said, we start at age 40. So everything is 5-year age group based. So 40 to 44, 45 to 49, 50 to 54, and so forth. So even if, you don't necessarily, if you're not in Doug's age category, then.
Well, Doug is in the so forth category, I believe.
Yeah, exactly. So do we have a decrepit category?
Greg, let me ask now a more specific question about recumbents. I know you started out without having a whole lot of experience. You said you had a little learning curve. So tell us, how have you decided to integrate the recumbents into the event? So some are mixed and some are separated. Yes.
Yes, that's correct. I'm working on things that are going to be a little bit different this year, as we all know, because of the COVID pandemic situation. That just even lining up for the time trial, we're going to have to probably put some lines down and keeping people a little bit further separated apart, because some of the, that is a concern, and the age group that we're dealing with is obviously, we're told, is, the higher risk category. And so I'm putting things in place that will make the riders feel a little bit safer at the starting of the event, and, kind of going from there, what we can do to pull this year's events off as well as we can.
Good. And so how would you encourage, in what way would you encourage recumbent riders around the country to come to the Arkansas Senior Games and attend?
Well, I know that some of the other states have already canceled for their senior games events. They've canceled their events, and so we've already seen we've got registration open on our site, on our website right now. And so I've seen several states of people from Colorado to Missouri, Mississippi, that are starting to sign up, that are interested in coming to our event. Thanks and tail to Jane Knight and some other people that are helped getting the word out for me, because I don't have the full list of all the recumbents around the country, but I'm jumping on board. I've, like you said, I had a big learning curve, and last year was big for me, that I even got to jump into one of the actual recumbents and ride it down the road and get up over 30 miles an hour. So it was a big thrill for me to be able to do that for the first time. So, I probably see myself doing that a little bit more than I have been. It's a lot of fun.
Greg, I think the fact that you obviously present such a friendly atmosphere to recumbents, which is not the case generally across the country. We'll talk about that at the end. I think we've talked about the Arkansas Senior Olympics here for a while on the show. Jane has brought it up to us a few times, and we're always looking for new venues where our bent riders can race, and you present a very friendly platform for that. So I wanted to thank you for that. So let's go to Doug for a second. And Doug, I think at this point you could tell us what was your experience last year at the Arkansas. We saw your pictures there. What was your experience at the games as a recumbent rider?
It was fun. I mean, it was a unique experience. The venue is nice. The roads are great. I don't know if we're going to do the same roads we did last year or not. The only issue I had with it was the fact that it was an active road, which means that I was catching up to cars in a couple of places. So in fact, there's a Comcast van out there that owes me about a minute on a time trial.
I paid him to slow you down.
Is that what that was? Because, man, he got in the way, and I could not get around him. And when I went around him, I'm pretty sure he didn't have any idea what that was.
Yeah.
So, the time trial road is fantastic. I mean, it's nice. It's pancake flat, which is that's genuinely good hunting ground for recumbents and velomobiles and things like that. Anyway, the venue's well done. The staying in Arkansas was fun. I this year I had planned to stay longer and go do some of the trails and some of the other ones, and so now we've got I guess the one of the rides coming up after that. So look forward to spending more time in Arkansas and riding you have a fantastic set of bike trails, but also some good riding out in the countryside.
Yeah, so another good point. You can go for the Olympics, but there's lots of other places to check out.
It seems to be a great riding area, and unlike this part of North Texas, it's not flat. So that's
a little more interesting. Very good. All right. Greg, if you'll stand by, let's send Greg back for a minute, and let's bring Andy up, and let's see if we can get the lowdown on the Texas ride. There we go. So Andy, tell us about your Texas Road Racing Championship.
Well, you were talking about the resistance you get from traditional bike riders, and I thought you were talking about me, because we've always had a kind of resistance, and roadies have a resistance to everything. So if you're on the mountain bike, it's whatever. Those guys don't shave their legs. A couple of years ago, I run the senior games here in Dallas. I'm not the executive director. I'm just the guy that makes it work as a race. And they said, "Can you do the recumbents and everything?" And I said, "Sure, why not? It's the senior games, 50 and up, and there's no real rules except be nice to each other, and fine." And the first year it went off, and it went okay. But the last time, Doug came up and actually started talking to me, which was kind of cool. And he showed his Velomobile, or his fully fairinged, and I was just amazed. I mean, I was just slack jaw, open mouth. I mean, the speeds and the capabilities, it just amazed me. And I've been running the state road race in Texas now for 15, 16, 17 years. And I'm an advocate of long loop. I don't want to see people going around a 5-mile loop, 20 times. So 12 years ago, we made a deal with Fort Hood to let us do this for a weekend, closed course. And there are no closed courses in Texas. This is 2.5 lanes wide, paved, not chip seal, of varied terrain. And so we've been running very successfully a 2-day USAC road race with all the categories, the state championship. I give away 50 some jerseys, lots of medals and all that good stuff. And we have custom trophies, 5 deep, that we do. On good years, we give away money purses. The top men's purse was $5,000, that sort of stuff. And this year, everything
Trey, let's
was
go ahead
canceled.
and start these slides going. We can put that first slide up, which tells some of these details. And go ahead. You can continue, Andy. I just want people to see what goes on.
But the idea was this year, everything was canceled. There was no bike racing in Texas essentially since March. And the USAC is a shadow of itself. And we no longer have a state organization that both helped me, but also enforced rules. And Doug kind of said, "What about doing some? What about doing some fairing and some recumbents?" And I have a hole in the schedule for the first time in forever. So I said, "Let's do it. We have the flexibility to do it this year." Now, we're going to have some special we're going to have some special waivers you're going to have to sign, and we're going to have guys with the little guns up front with the forehead temperature takers. But I'm really excited. When Doug rode the course and told me some about his exploits on the course, I was just amazed. I think the bicycling community will get a view first off of the fairing community and see that, but also the recumbents, the open recumbents who travel about the same speed as bicycles, will go off on the first day, and that event should attract a lot of people's attention. And we have the chance to open it up to be a little bit ecumenical, if you will. And so I'm excited. I really am.
Andy, tell me, when we were setting you up, you told me a little bit about the course and Fort Hood and some of the unique aspects of riding in that area and what goes on. Would you share that story? I love that.
Yeah, sure. I mean, it is, first of all, it's a unique venue, and they have a closed course, which they have graciously given me over the years, which is renowned. Well, on the course, you're going to go by the Iraqi village where all the people that go overseas train. And depending on the situation, you'll hear actual AK-47s and M16s trade fire. There is a Arab village that is now a Ukrainian village, the only difference being the paint job. And they have active training. The entire east end of the course is open to a live fireplace, a fire zone, if you will. And so every once in a while, especially on Saturday, you'll have some big boys, 155s, come overhead. You can hear the artillery rounds go overhead, and they hit off the course. It is also the home of the attack helicopter school. And many times these guys will get out on the weekends to practice. At one of our races, they actually came in and, I will say, zoomed a pack. They were probably 100 feet off the top of them. And then they opened up their cannon fire to the live fire course, scared the heck out of the people riding. But it was cool. And everybody said, "How'd you manage that?" And I said, "I didn't." But they just do that. They will be armored exercises during that weekend where the tanks will be around. They're not supposed to cover the course, but who's going to stop a tank? And very often it involves live fire. Now, in one year, they would time the fire so that they wouldn't be firing over and around the packs so that the shockwave wouldn't hit them. It was a rainy year, so you had scenes of guys on tanks standing on the tanks applauding the racers going by. This is the sideshow on this race is like no other sideshow.
Yeah,
clearly, for those of us with a military background, us with a military background, it's incredible.
Yeah, I gotta say, if you're riding in this and you have some live fire going on behind you, you might be likely to set some personal bests, I would think, under the right circumstances. So let's add that as a positive as well.
Some of the people have said that they've soiled their chamois.
Yes, I could see that.
It has become a testing or a training scenario for the people that run our drones. The drones are above. You can't see them. These are real military drones run by the South Dakota people, and they will be given scenario tests like find the fourth guy in the 50 plus pack, and they have to go find the number of variations to find the guy and do that sort of stuff. It is a secure base on wartime, so we have that restriction. In other words, anybody that talks to you that looks like remote authority, your next statement is yes, sir, yes, ma'am. But we've had great reception. The soldiers love us, and active duty soldiers ride free. Period.
And tell
but
us,
it's incredible.
Yeah, tell us. We saw the website screen grab, but so tell us the dates.
It's September 19th, which will be the day of the fairing and the recumbent. Now we have two classes. One is fairing, the other one is recumbent. We're starting out that way. They're going to be timed. They're going to be scored separately. So there'll be separate awards for the recumbents and separate awards for the fairing. They start the same, but obviously they're going to separate early. We'll give them moto support and a SAG truck in case anything happens. But they will be the first wave of the afternoon. I know the fairing guys wanted more than one lap, but I can't have those guys running through 300 other racers.
Very good.
The one lap will be pretty cool.
It sounds like a great opportunity and a very unique race. Andy, stand by right where you are.
Sure.
Lars, can we bring Greg back and bring Doug in as well? I want to finish up with a quick discussion about the National Senior Games, which we've talked about before, and Greg kind of alluded to. So, we've seen where the recumbents have been denied entry into many of these, and I guess you guys being so open and welcoming, I'd like to have a short question and answer about how you think we can encourage more states to do this, which is, I think, a precursor to get the National Senior Games to accept us. So what do you think is the key to that? Let's start with Greg.
Well, what I can tell you is that I have talked to the national office, and they tell me that the recumbent bikes, two wheels, can enter next year's National Senior Games down in Florida. They did allow a few of them to come in last year in Albuquerque, and I guess it went okay. So they are going to, just for the time trials though, for the 5K and the 10K time trial. So if you have a two-wheeled recumbent bike, you can go to the Nationals. Now, I am continuing to kind of toot my horn every time I talk to them. We've been having some online chats and so forth, and I'm going maybe later this year to be able to talk to all the state executives and trying to encourage them also to pick up recumbents and allowing them to race. And it's just going to take a push. I mean, Jane Knight, Doug, everybody, whatever we can do is just keep kind of tooting our horn and saying, hey, recumbents are all here to stay. And this is a growing, event that we would like to get included in the National Senior Games. And I think it's possible.
In my estimation, nothing's going to work as well as having someone like you or Andy that has some experience and a good experience standing in front of those folks and saying, look, you can do this. It works. These guys are great. It's going to add numbers and it's going to make it a richer race. Do you agree with that, Andy?
100%.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The idea of participation brings acceptance. We have gravel. When I started road riding, there was road riding, and then we got the evil people from mountain biking, and they took away numbers, and now we've got the sinners of the gravel set, and it just goes on and on and on. The numbers drive it. And frankly, as a promoter, I want people there. I want people to enjoy themselves. I want people to do safe. And, I got an opportunity this year because I've got a window on my race day that I can bring them in. And if the other promoters in Texas see that this works, they'll do it too, because it's about numbers.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yeah.
the senior games are so decentralized. I run the ones in done by Texas A&M. I do that one in College Station, and we get 50, 60, 70 guys and ladies out, and we do this in the 50 plus set. We don't allow 40s in, and Doug gets checked every time he shows up because he's got too much hair and it's all one color. But the idea is as the various departments, recreation departments of the cities that put on the senior games start to look at the fact that we have 50 guys. Is there a way we can do 90 guys or 70 guys? Yeah, it's called recumbents. They'll do it. And you get states like Arkansas, Texas, or Ohio, and some of the other states who have it. The nationals are going to say yes, too. It's all about participation. And,
absolutely.
The natural chauvinism that bicycling seems to be, I'm trying to pick my words here right, that my bike is the only bike. The triangle frame is the only way you can do bicycles. Well, we all know that's wrong. But if we fight the chauvinism, and if those guys in recumbents, if they could see their legs, they were shaved, it would work.
No doubt about it. Well, we'll take some pictures of Doug's legs, and I don't know if that will help.
I wouldn't do that. That might get the FCC on us.
Doug, go ahead. I'd like to hear your thoughts to finish up here.
Oh, I gotta say, you wouldn't know if my legs were shaved anyway because they're hiding inside the shell.
Exactly.
So, I think that was Andy's point.
Along with my Speedo. So there you go.
Oh no.
So, Doug, I guess so. I want to ask you: are you optimistic that here over the next few years we may get to have that push and see more participation and eventually maybe even a realistic national senior games more than a time trial?
I hope so, because quite honestly, the one of the senior games invited some of us to come to, and it was on time trial only, a 5K and a 10K, and it's like they charged full admission. And they didn't understand why they didn't get anybody to show up. I said, nobody's going to pay $80 to ride 9 miles. It's just not going to happen. And so that segued off into a much longer conversation about recumbents and safety. Safety teams show up over and over again because it's the pole to hang on to. It's like, well, we're concerned that they're not safe. And I said, well, yeah, but we've been arguing about disc brakes for half a decade and whether they're safe or not too. So it's not really a place to put a stake anymore, because we've proven it over and over again that they're as safe, if not safer, than standard diamond frame bikes. But I think the answer is inclusive is going to happen. We know from an industry perspective, recumbents are growing faster than almost any other market segment other than e-bikes. So there are more of them coming, and I think that's something that will be recognized just in the sheer metrics and participation numbers.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Doug. So I think we're going to go ahead, Andy.
The issue I was going to say, safety isn't the fact that these different machines are safe. Safety is because the bicyclists aren't used to looking at the traditional bicyclists aren't used to looking out about this.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
We don't know how to deal with it. And so anything that's strange, we're going to say safety, because who can argue with that?
Right. And the more that you mix in with all this stuff and they see the recumbents and see that it works, it's going to become a non-issue, I would think.
Well, the first year we did the recumbents, everybody kind of, okay, fine. But Doug, you came up to me at the event and we started talking. And we got flexibility in there. Let's do it.
Yeah.
See how it works. It's going to take this type of, I don't know, salesmanship or just, talking to one another, heaven forbid.
It's talking
to actually make this work.
What Andrew referred to is I came up to him and I said, look, you probably need to just launch me first, because I'm going to be on top of these guys. and Andy at least had the open-mindedness to think that was even possible. And I said, just do this. I don't need, I've got bright flashing lights. I'll turn them on. I'll be in this course. I'm not worried about this. Just let me go ahead of these guys, and it will be safer for all of us. And it was. And I still ran across them, but,
and then we talked to Chip at Hotter Than Hell, and we were going to have a Hotter Than Hell.
Yeah, we were.
13,000 cyclists. These guys leave first. We're going to have a real race. And the USAC said, oh, whatever. And, I was going to be the chief ref of this thing. and 160-mile loop essentially, or 100-mile loop, I guess we're going to do. But all it takes is a couple of people that people trust to talk to say, can we do this? And Doug brought it up, and Chip brought it up, and I said, I'll do it. And once Chip saw that I was going to do it, because I've been a friend of his for a long time, and I am a somewhat respected USAC official, we're going to make it work.
That's where I want to leave it right there. We are going to make it work. So thanks a lot, Andy. Thank you so much. Good luck. We look forward to see what goes on in Texas. And Greg, thank you so much. Arkansas led the way, and we're looking forward to seeing what you guys come up with as we go along the way and your promotion of what we do. And Doug, as always, thank you for chiming in on this too, guys. Thank you so much.
Last moment. Let me invite you to come out to Fort Hood on the 19th. And do a live commentary.
I'm gonna look for some body armor and a helmet, and then I'm gonna see if I can make it. So thank you, Andy. Thank you.
Extra layer of Kevlar on my Velomobile.
We're gonna need something, I think. So sounds intriguing. I thank you guys very much. So
thank you.
All right, we'll see you. All right, guys. Let's finish up here with an interesting segment and Ask Me Anything. So I want to remind you all that the live chat is going strong. Please, if you have any questions about Delta trikes, about Hase trikes or Hase bikes, this is the place to ask and the time to ask. So put them into the live chat and we will bring them up. And in the meantime, we're going to chat a little bit about what goes on in Maine, actually, in the U.S. here with Hase USA and RAD Innovations. I'd like you to meet David Black and Anja Wrede. Hello, guys.
Hey, Gary. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for sticking with us.
Well, no, I appreciate that, and I appreciate being on. And let me remind you that Vermont has its own state.
It's not a part of Maine.
It's not a part of Maine.
I'm sorry. I am sorry. I knew that, but I guess I completely forgot. I don't know why. I thought you were up north. I had no idea. So
we're definitely there.
In Vermont, of course, and in a beautiful spot from some of the pictures I've seen. All right, guys, let's talk a little bit about Hase USA. But I think even before we do that, let's get real basic here, because what you guys sell is a kind of trike that is not the most popular out there, but it certainly serves a place, and a lot of people love them, and they are Delta trikes. Tell us, if you would. I guess we'll start with David, or you guys can decide who answers. What a Delta trike is, how it compares to a tadpole trike, and what are the advantages?
Fundamentally, yeah, I'll take that. So Delta trike versus tadpole trike is one wheel in front versus two wheels in front, and there are a number of different attributes that the Delta might offer that you cannot do with the tadpole trike. And Hase certainly has been a leader in the industry for Delta trikes over the last 25 years. Delta trike, first of all, tends to have a greater range of steering just by nature of a single wheel in the front. It has a better steering radius, almost to the point of where you can turn within your own circle. So that's probably the biggest pop that comes to my mind. But then by default, we also can couple trikes. We can drop a front wheel off and we can tandem. So we can couple one trike into another, and maybe two or three or four of them. And if a person wants to get a little extra help or ride in tandem for better communication.
What's the record?
What's the record?
69 in Germany.
69 that actually went somewhere. I think there have been a few more, but
69 attached Delta trikes in a train.
What did we have at the last CycleCon?
At CycleCon, there were, I don't know, 12, 15.
We had but if you remember, we were navigating quite handily through maybe 40, 50 recumbent bikes overall,
Right.
and I don't think we knocked anybody down. But
Yeah, and I
we
guess
have,
I would add, I don't know if you're going to get there or not, and we're going to talk about this more specifically a little bit later, but I think accessibility, so adaptive needs, we're going to talk about that, but just on the very basics of a Delta trike, it is very easy to get on and off of a Delta trike as well, so as we're going to see.
I was getting into that, where it is a bit easier to step in and out of a Delta trike, and you've only got the front wheel and a boom to sit into or step over, and a tadpole doesn't give you that. You've got to manipulate yourself, back into the boom, what have you. So, traction is a good point, depending on the model, of course. There's a differential. You've got two-wheel drive on the rear. You've got good stability. I mean, there are different models, just like as in tadpoles, of componentry. So the coupling to another trike, to another two-wheel bike. So in the adaptive inclusive world, it affords us a lot of options, no matter what the ability of the individual riding rider's needs might be.
Right, absolutely. All right, well, that's probably a good point for us to, maybe we can go in more detail as we look at these individual products of yours. And let's go ahead and get started, if we could, with the Trigo.
Cool.
Yeah, can we talk about these one at a time?
Yeah, this is a Trigo Up, which is a Delta trike with a handlebar that is up into a position that might be more comfortable for people and more familiar. So it's as much a state of mind as anything. The seat is adjustable up and down the rail. 2 quick releases. You can slide that seat forward and or backward, and it fits a pretty broad range of people. Anja?
Yeah. So
okay. Go ahead, Anja.
This is also coming with a Nexus 8-speed, so for people that are really not going very far, they want to ride in the city and just have easy shifting, and it's a little bit of easy rider style. I think some older people like having this handlebar in the front, even though it's much nicer for your shoulders to have underseat steering.
Let's go to the next slide, and we're going to see what that looks like. I think we've got there we go. So there's a Trigo with underseat steering. So seems like a very comfortable position.
So that's a more typical for recumbent trike, whether it's tadpole or Delta, in my opinion. What I like about this, and we sell more of these than we do the upsteer, is that you can adjust it very easily to the range of ability. Let's say somebody had a stroke, and we can put all the controls on one side or the other, and put that handlebar, that steering lever, into that sweet spot, that easy to reach and rest the hand on position.
Right.
So fundamentally, the bikes are the same, with the exception of the steering.
Right. All right, let's go on to what I would consider to be, I assume you'll agree, your flagship trike, and it's the Kettwiesel, right? So tell us about the Kettwiesel.
Kettwiesel is an older model, but constantly being improved with suspension, and it's a sportier model. It's a little lower to the ground. It has a broader range of componentry choices, from gearing to electric assist. Trigo also has electric assist, but from a different kind of perspective. So I can think of a Kettwiesel frame as having 15 different choices within componentries: folding frame, suspension. We have a Velomobile model with a fully enclosed fairing, and
on the Kettwiesel, it's really easy to change the seat heights. So we have the Hase decided not to produce the Lepus anymore like you knew it. So the Lepus, what's called Lepus now, is actually a Kettwiesel frame with a raised seat. And I can raise any Catweasel seat to that height. So if somebody's more comfortable or needs to get in and out easier, you can use a Catweasel and say, okay, I want the seat raised by 4.5 inches.
Okay, let's go. I think we have one more. Do we have another Catweasel slide? So here now, this is what you were talking about earlier, David. This is you can't really see the connection, but they are connected. The front wheel has been removed from that the rear trike and attached to the front. Right? Tell us how that works.
Yeah. Okay. And one of the things I would say to Hase is, if you think of trikes, tandems, and hand cycles under that Hase bike's umbrella, we have almost something that can fit anybody and everything from adult to child. So the picture we're looking at are two adults on two Catweasels and that are coupled together. So whether it was a visually impaired or physically impaired individual, or just, as I said, from tandeming, we're able to make a pretty good ride. Or if we want, we can split them up and you've got two independently drivable trikes.
The whole process takes a couple seconds.
Yeah.
You take the front wheel off and you drop it on the tandem coupler and tighten it with a quick release. And that's a couple seconds.
Good. Okay, let's go on. And again, continuing with the adaptable needs kinds of things, or just fun. This is a very interesting bike that I know you guys have had for a while. Tell us about the Pinot.
Okay, the Hase Pinot, and this is a particularly involved picture, but this is a Pinot with a porter rack on the underneath, so it's kind of like a cargo bike option. But more interestingly is it's set up for a child to ride. And you'll notice, if anybody that's looking at the picture can see that there are two cranks on the front. We have a quick connect crank for children that enables us to go from child to adult in in a matter of a minute, and fit the same frame. So I can go with a 4-foot child to a 6'4" adult by taking off the crank closest to the child and extending the boom. So that's a really versatile bike. Whether it is a passive rider, active rider, a variety of sizes, and the Pinot again comes in half a dozen flavors of componentry, and the frame is the same on all of them, but there are accessories and componentry to suit the need of commuter bike, tour bike, adaptive bike.
Very good. Okay, let's go on to the Tretz. So what's this one?
Well, the Tretz is really a sized down Catweasel, if you will, with a plus. So it is for the adaptive market, special needs market. What it also has as part of the bundle is a drawbar, like a trailer drawbar that enables you to take off the front wheel and tow with a two-wheel bike. So the child can be independent when appropriate and able, and if able, or it also coupled to a two-wheel bike and as a trailer bike, but they can pedal. So you've got brakes. Well, here we go. Thank you. So they can pedal. There's gearing. There's a safety harness. There is not on this particular picture. There's a push bar. There's a whole bunch of really cool stuff there with safety in mind. You'll notice that the wheels are enclosed, and the
so David, is that a
got a great.
Is that a Tretz trike with the front wheel off, or is that a trailer separate? I'm not sure what we're looking at here. I know it's got pedals. What is that?
It's a Tretz trike with the front wheel taken off and the drawbar attached.
Okay, so it's not a separate product. I wasn't quite sure from that picture. That's very cool. So it's Yeah.
two pictures are different because this traits is the 2020 traits. It's a new development within Hase. So it's a new trike which has the basis of the Trigo frame. So all Trigo accessories fit on the new traits as well.
Here's a
So
question, if we can, about connecting Hase bike in tandem. Can you take just the frame with the two wheels, connect in tandem, and use it as a trailer? Use it a trailer / RV with some modifications. Maybe use it.
well,
Yeah, go ahead. Do you know? I'm not
I
sure
guess you
what that
can
last part
use.
meant.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is the person wants to use a trike as a trailer,
Which
I
you just
guess.
do with the Treads, and you could do that sort
Well,
of.
yeah, well, it is
In other words, without
improbable,
the
but
pedal kind of situation. Yes.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
I'm not clear about the question. I have
Yeah,
to say.
Dusty, haha, if you can clear that up for us, we can and shoot it back here into the chat. Maybe we can answer that a little better. But okay, guys, let's start wrapping this up here. I don't want to leave without talking more specifically about all of the adaptive technology that you guys do. It's just wonderful work. And whoever, David, maybe tell us, if you can, briefly about your adaptive technology work.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, that's actually what pulled me into the industry in 1999 is the need to come up with other solutions for adaptive, inclusive mobility. And then in a short course of time, I connected with Hase and Anja as part of Hase today. Probably is the #1 adaptive, inclusive bicycle producer in the world. That from just how to think of it as a platform of a product that we can fit the broadest range of individuals to.
Here's this will fit right into what you're talking. Sorry to interrupt. So Gork 57, Greg out in Colorado is saying, Hase adaptability accessories work for tadpoles too. I use crank shortener that works very well. So that kind of fits in with what you're saying, huh?
Yeah. So we have Hase has basically a box of tricks, a suitcase that has cranks and fittings for virtually any bike that can help individuals best fit and get best range of motion on their bike. And we do have we sell a lot of those kits. We sell a lot of those parts to other bike shops and to other individuals that are looking for that compensation of best range of motion to the good side and compensation to the weaker side.
Right, and along with the dealers that use your products to help adapted needs folks, you work with organizations as well, do you not?
We do quite a bit. We support the Veterans Administration quite strongly through dealers and directly. We've got some really good partners out there. Adaptive Adventures out in Colorado, and every dealer that has that knowledge base that is close to a VA center has been a great localized support. But we also work with adaptive, inclusive recreation centers that might have a fleet of product where that fitting can be easily accomplished, and to that point, any bicycle dealer that has somebody that walks in that door that they need a fitting for, we are available to help in whatever way we can come up with. So. The recreation, mobility, and
that all fits right into what you do. Here's the clarification. Oh wait, here, that wasn't it. Is this it? What I mean is that whether a Hase frame be converted to a trailer because of its easy hookup to the bike, it has the potential to modify something like a bike RV. Oh, so using something like the attachment as a rear trailer they could use for maybe camping and that kind of thing. Maybe that's what he's talking about.
Okay,
So,
to that.
I guess that's all right.
Okay.
Think about those
If
lines
I got
too.
the question right, I think it's a matter of, it doesn't have to be a bike that we're pulling. It can be a trailer, and there's a ton of trailers out there that can connect. If you think of a fork dropping into that coupler, pull away with safety, please.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have Barry New saying, I have a Lepus Steps and a Ket Wiesel Evo, great trike. So he's a fan there. Sounds like Barry. Thank you, Barry. All right. Guys, I think we're going to probably have to leave it there for now. We hope to be working together soon for maybe a Bent Expo video where we're going to delve very deeply into your products and what else it is that you do. But I'm so glad that you took the opportunity to come on the Laidback Bike Report. You spent a little time getting everything set up. I appreciate that. So thanks, David and Anja. Any final thoughts?
Well, thank you for, being out there and spreading the word, Gary. And, I've known you for a couple of years now. What I can tell you of what we have seen to the point of COVID, which has been mentioned a couple of times, a incredible surge of individuals looking to be outside, more active. Trikes are definitely a part of that. And physiotherapists not being available, people are looking at getting on outdoor bike recreation at a higher level than we've seen in previous years.
Yeah,
So
no doubt. We've talked to plenty of retailers and manufacturers too right now in the recumbent world, and they echo just what you guys are saying. And it's like it's guns are blaring and it's full speed ahead right now. So there's always good and bad to everything, I guess. Go ahead, David.
And one other point of it is this way in which we are communicating. We've all had these iPhone devices and FaceTimes and so on, but it's been kind of an informal interaction and way of communicating, and is becoming a daily, whether it's a demo ride or a ride assessment or repair. So I think that the more you do these kinds of things and enable people to realize that this format, and there are a variety of formats, the more people will get the more information.
Yeah, it's becoming an everyday way of doing things, isn't it? So sure. Thank you guys very much too. Hopefully we will see you maybe at CycleCon this year if it all comes together. So we look forward to the next time. So
we are available. Thank you very much.
All right. Yes. So David, Anja, thank you so much, guys. You take care. We'll talk again soon. Stay in touch. All right, folks, let's talk about the sponsors of the Laidback Bike Report now. First of all, it is TerraCycle. From fairings to headrests, whatever accessory you need, Pat and crew have you covered. And trailside.bike. If you find yourself in Florida, near the Withlacoochee Trail, stop in to see Andrew and his crew. And Cruise Bike. Their patented race and record-proven front-wheel drive geometry changes the rules of cycling. Now, comfort doesn't come at the cost of performance. But fair warning, your cheeks may hurt from smiling. And TerraTrike, the host of the virtual Rider Fest. For details, go to terratrike.com/riderfest or TerraTrike Facebook page. Ride what you like and join us for the virtual Rider Fest. So yeah, the last ride actually is coming up next Saturday, guys. So do that and stay tuned for next Sunday when we do the drawing for the trike from TerraTrike on the Rider Fest. And lastly, the Hostel Shop. Established in 1974, the Hostel Shop leads the way in providing recumbent bikes and trikes to cyclists across the nation. With over 4 decades of industry knowledge and cycling experience, we're more than just another bike shop. All right, guys, let's finish up with telling you what we got coming up next week. I told you a little bit about what's coming up. The main featured guest will be Lonnie Morris from the Oregon Human Powered Vehicle group. I had a chance to meet Lonnie last year when we were out in Portland, and he's an amazing guy. I've known of him for many years. I think you'll enjoy seeing what Lonnie has to say. They were involved in a lot of innovations in early recumbent riding and building back last century. And so we look forward to sharing what he's got to say with all of you guys. And back by popular demand, our buddy Marco Ruga from Italy. He was on a few weeks ago, and people just loved him. He's an interesting guy, a great builder of unusual and fast recumbent bikes. And he's got a lot to say about the biking culture, recumbent culture in Italy and around Europe. So we're going to talk to him about that. The craziness of riding bent in Italy with Marco Ruga next week. And of course, as I mentioned, Terra Trikes Rider Fest drawing for a free trike. So don't miss that. That will be next week, June 28th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. All right, Bent Expo. The videos continue to be posted. We just posted the cruise bike one a few days ago, doing very well. Maria Parker telling all about their products. I think a great way to learn about what cruise bike does. So that's available on our YouTube channel. And then in the queue, we've got TerraCycle and Hase that we just talked about, and Cat Trike as well coming up. So we hope you will look forward to watching those when they come out. Now, how can you support the Laidback Bike Report? Please like us on Facebook, subscribe to that YouTube channel, and learn more by clicking the little white eye up in the upper right-hand corner that you see there. It'll take you to our website, and you can learn a lot more about the Laidback Bike Report and our past shows and such. And also, please join our Patreon patrons by supporting us with as little as $1 a month. And among other things, you can become part of the background of the Laidback Bike Report. All these guys are there. So we would love to be able to put you up on the board there. So thank you to all of our Patreon patrons up to now. We want to thank Brian Ball and Bent Ryder for the promotional support that they always give us, and Larry, who's not with us today, but we sure thank them for that. And thank all of our panelists. Guys, come on back up here. Thank you so much for your hard work, making the show go nice and smoothly, like it does 97% of the time. And Doug, especially thanks to you for hopping on, helping out today on a couple of those segments, lending your expertise. Appreciate it, pal.
Anytime.
You guys and these guys work so hard, and you know we've been doing the shows every week since March. A lot of extra work goes into that for all these guys, so we appreciate that. We're gonna, as I said, have a show next week, and then we're gonna go the second week in July, and then my intention is to go back to our monthly reports, although we may throw one or two in between. But so that will be the schedule coming up, so that you guys know about that. So thanks to my wonderful crew. Most of all, thanks to all of you for watching the Laidback Bike Report today and always. And so until our next webcast, from all of us here at the Laidback Bike Report, so long, Bent Riders.